is a great shot. What?
Clip farming.
Oh yeah, I'm clip farming. Hi guys, welcome to week 7 of The Artist's Way. I'm gonna close my window. You can take this moment to appreciate everything on my wall. Welcome to my bedroom. Oh my god. This feels like a big step, y'all. God damn it. You may be wondering why I lit some incense for us. God forbid I catch a vibe. One of this week's tasks was to create a beautiful scent in your home. She suggested incense amongst others, soup, candles. She also suggested that we wear our favorite item of clothing for no reason, so I'm wearing this bra and these big ass pants. This is kind of the default fit these days. Yeah, we tracked all kinds of shit. We tracked jealousy, we tracked perfectionism. Also, we are now on week 8. I just finished week 7. I just wanted to take a minute to retrospect, like, these last few weeks doing this project have been crazy. First of all, started uploading on YouTube, and now people are actually watching it, which is crazy if you're here or you're seeing this channel for the first time. You guys ever been to a rave or like a similar event where like the guy with the with these? Hold on, let me restart. Have you ever been to a rave where a guy has the LED things on the ends of his fingertips and he goes like in front of you and you're like out of your mind? So you're like, me and my friend Ava like to do that to sober people at events that aren't events, and just kind of go up to them and like Anyway, 7 weeks ago, I just wasn't expecting these videos to gain any traction. I've been able to discover a lot about my own creative process and a lot of the things that are holding me back in ways I don't think I would have considered before. I feel like I have freed something within myself that was putting a greater strain on my ambitions. I don't know if I felt truly like inhibited to create before. I've been very freely creating, music and art and whatnot for years now, but I felt like I had some blocks in other ways that I am aware of now, that maybe I wasn't before. I think trying to downplay how much I really want to achieve success with my music and how much I want to continue doing music for the rest of my life is a huge recurring block. And now, nearing the end of The Artist's Way and also the end of college, it's just becoming so increasingly apparent to me that I've shrunk this desire and it cannot be shrunk. I feel like I've been able to expand my reach a little bit. I feel like I am so crazy and passionate and talkative in real life that I do get to express a lot of what I think about creativity to a lot of people. But it's always been the scope of within my life. And I feel like I've been able to hear some really interesting perspectives and just hear a lot of really great encouragement from random places of the internet. I would actually love to see what countries these are reaching, these videos, because I'm just making this video in California. If you're in somewhere that isn't California or the United States, and you're watching this, I would love to hear where you are. And thank you for watching my videos, and I hope that they are resonating with you. I feel like I'm a lot less inhibited in what I'm creating. I feel a lot more confident in myself. That's a big one. I feel so much more like this is what I was born to do. Make art and make music and communicate my ideas also about art and music to other people, and to create different kinds of communities or participate in different communities that revolve around these things that I'm so interested in and that I think are so important. I feel empowered, but I feel also very small in a really cool way. I feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. Now that I'm flowing in the way that I am, I feel like I'm not really grinding on this album that I've been making, which is, you know, how I've been referring to it, is like I'm in the studio every night, I'm grinding, whatever. I feel like it's like fucking escaping me. Like it's being freed from my grasp. I've been working on it so long. A lot of these concepts go back as far as when I was like 13 years old. So much of what I've done in the last 8 years as a musician, maybe even more than that, has contributed to what I'm creating right now. Almost. Next month, guys. I went to this event the area that I live in puts on every year. As I was descending into this giant meadow, I felt like I was in this like pastoral fantasy. Like I was like, this is the fucking dream. Just surrounded by like hundreds, maybe thousands of people on Easter and also 420. He is risen. I felt very, very in my body, unself-conscious and magnetic, and like I climbed this big ass tree barefoot. I walked everywhere barefoot all day. It occurred to me that we made shoes to make walking easier for ourselves, and often they make walking so much more difficult, which seems counterintuitive. I might get some flack for being like, everyone should walk barefoot everywhere, and they're, you know, I'm gonna get, but what about, but it's dirty on the ground, but it's my feet that are touching it. So, yeah, I went to this event and I felt free and beautiful and immersed, and then I was so sick the day after and the day after that. And this happened at the beginning of the month too, when I organized the show. You know, running around barefoot, having a great fucking time too. I think I'm just getting so dehydrated. I should know this. I got hospitalized at the beginning of the year because I was fucking dehydrated and my body was rejecting water. Really hoping to be able to have a good time without having a bad time for 2 days afterwards. And so if anybody has any tips on how to do that, please bang my line and leave them in the comments along with the country that you're seeing this from. All right. Week 7 connection. We talked a lot about perfectionism this week, and we talked a lot about jealousy. Julia wrote that egotism is what feeds perfectionism. If you were able to surrender your ego in the creative process a little bit more, you would be flowing a lot more freely with your creativity and a lot less absorbed in your perfectionism. She says the perfectionist fixes one line of a poem over and over until no lines are right. I have been known to be a perfectionist with my work. I don't know why this is my impulse and always has been for any kind of creative process. My perfectionism was so stifling when I was in high school that I would write like a song a year maybe, and usually I wouldn't even finish it. My perfectionism has been an enemy of my creative flow, and I do know this, and so it was interesting to come into contact with it again. Now that I'm in this like editing process of finishing this album and being, you know, super nitpicky about like there was a flat note here that I need to fix, or like the bass doesn't quite line up with the Rhodes at this one part, and I end up editing until my ears are fucking bleeding. So I think there will have to be a point, especially with this deadline that I'm working under now for the album, where I have to just decide, like, I've done my best. I have to trust that what comes out of me as an unfinished product is a quality piece of work, because I make quality work. There were a lot of writing exercises this week, which is probably why the tasks were like, wear your favorite item of clothing and light incense. She had us do a list of things that we would do if we didn't have to do it perfectly. I wrote them down fast. I would do kickboxing, I would do salsa, I would get more tattoos, I would learn to tie a cherry knot with my tongue, I would learn another language. I said Japanese ? Spanish ? Not French. I took French in high school. I took 1 year of French. I met my best friend. That's all I retained from French. I was just a pretentious motherfucker. I already took 7 years of Spanish. Surely I'll retain some of the 7 years of Spanish that I took in middle school. And I didn't retain French either. Ballet, contemporary dance, I would use a flip phone. My flip phone is coming. My flip phone is supposed to be delivered today. I'm holding on to hope that it will come today. I would get a tooth gem. I actually am going to get a tooth gem in 9 days. Sew and alter my clothes, DJ, skate or longboard, pottery, perform live with synths, write more poetry, play pool, read my poetry, like in public, cook and bake. Heavy on the cooking and baking. I make what I make pretty well. I cook chicken perfectly every single time. But that's kind of all I got. I got like chicken, shakshuka. I make a lot of rice bowls. I don't really know any like soups or stews. In the comment section, can you please drop a soup or stew recipe that you think I should try along with your methods of, what did I say? Whatever else I said, and the country that you're from. And a soup recipe. Following this prompt, if I didn't have to do it perfectly, I would. I said I would do a lot of things freely without fear of losing momentum or losing the habit or worrying about what kind of person it makes me. I feel like a lot of times when I started doing something that I've wanted to do for a long time, taking like an exercise class or like just developing any habit that I know that I want to get into, I feel like I'm embarking on this like crazy endeavor. For instance, I went on like a run the other day. I just really, in general, don't enjoy running and have never been a strong runner. And it stressed me out because I was like, I enjoyed it. I was bad at it. It hurt, but I did enjoy it. And I only ran like a half mile. But I was like, you know, I'm just not really a runner though. Like, I'm not that kind of girl. It's like why I don't go to the gym either, because like I don't really enjoy the gym all that much. But the second that I do go to the gym and I enjoy it like a little bit, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to become a gym person. Now, how to incorporate this into my schedule, I'm gonna have to stay consistent if I wanna see whatever results. If I wanna build muscle, like I can't fucking drop it. I can't lose momentum. Even like I was taking yoga class 3 times a week. It felt like this crazy accomplishment, even though I was doing it because I love going to yoga class. And I was like, if I miss one of those 3, then I will give up and no longer go to yoga. It just seems like that's always my first impulse for some reason, is to be incredibly perfectionistic, even with things like that, which are ultimately pretty inconsequential. Having the habit would be good. I would love to have the habit. Building a lasting habit has always been incredibly difficult for me. I think for some reason that like the thing that I'm doing has no value if I don't create it into a habit. Like if I go on this one run, like what was even the point if I'm not gonna start running and I'm not gonna become like a girl who runs? Bro, I'm never gonna be a girl who runs. I just can't. I just probably will not be. Can't I just kind of do things? Same with like, you know, I wanna learn to be better with my cooking and my baking, but I'm like, now I'm gonna have to be a fucking girl who cooks and bakes. I think that I could progress a little bit. I think I could do something for a while and then never again, or, you know, have it come intermittently. I don't know why I hold myself to this extreme perfectionism in my habits, especially because I've been known to break these habits, and then I feel like I lose momentum and then I abandon it, whatever that idea was or the habit was, when I could still be getting a lot of enjoyment out of taking that yoga class occasionally. This isn't even a real thing. It's not a real thing. You can't be like a blank person, whatever. You can keep telling yourself that you were, and I actually wrote that down, of all of the, you know, dumb arbitrary things that I've told myself about myself. Every time that it changes, I like don't know how to handle that. It will be jarring in like instances where it really shouldn't be. For instance, I've told myself I'm a silver jewelry person. I don't run, I don't wear stiletto heels or get my nails done, I don't like sports, I do yoga, I'm a spiritual person. Aren't we all spiritual people? Wouldn't the question better be, rather than are you a spiritual person, are you aware that you're a spiritual person? Whatever, that's a separate video. Like, I don't wear bras. Evidently, here I am. I don't care about celebrities. I don't fuck with specific brands. I like savory food over sweet food. I told myself I'm not a jealous person. None of this is true. There are things that I tend to lean towards. I don't usually care about sports. I don't usually run, but I like plenty of gold jewelry. My whole makeup bag's full of Glossier. All of these are random specific examples, because even a really random specific thing changing about myself can really throw me off and disconnect me from myself for some reason. I used to say that I just like did not fuck with handbags whatsoever. I was like, I don't want to be carrying something all night. I thought it was like an emblem of adulthood that like I just didn't aspire to. I was like, I don't want to be a bitch with a handbag. Check this out, y'all. Check this bag out that I got at the thrift store for $25. I don't really know if that's a good deal or not, because this is the first handbag that I own. What's in my bag video will come at a later time, trust me. This caused me anguish when I liked this. Like when I got home with the bag and I was like, oh my god. Guys, is it ever that serious? I think I've been overly perfectionistic even with my own identity. I think that even the smallest things that truly don't have anything to do with identity, I conflate with identity, and then I feel like I've lost my identity. I know as I get older I will only change more. I think there's a lot of ways in general I don't really embrace the flow of my own identity and the fact that it is kind of always going to be in flux. My creative identity for sure, I'm not sticking to one thing too much. In my own personal life too, I would like to just be able to freely try things and enjoy them and not worry about what it says about me or what kind of person I will become if I'm doing that a lot, or like how do I, you know, get the discipline to do this thing a lot. I just want to do it. I mentioned that I had told myself I'm not a jealous person. Jealousy was one of the other big concepts of this week. I don't think I've thought critically about jealousy through a lot of my life. I think why I've told myself I'm not a jealous person is because it hasn't really been one of the like dominating problems of my life, jealousy of other people. I don't tend to be excessively jealous in relationships. I have definitely envied people before, but the envy is usually not very insidious or very deeply rooted. It felt like a simple emotion for a while. I say this because it hadn't happened to me, but then it did. I realized that the more I tried to deny myself the human experience of jealousy, the more it was gonna pop up. You know, I like to think that I am a free lover, and I do believe in abundance. But this is a human emotion. In the same way that I told myself I wasn't an angry person for years, and then I started tweaking the fuck out because I had denied myself the human experience of anger. I denied myself jealousy, and therefore I disconnected myself from what I was actually feeling. We did this activity called the jealousy map, where you list out every person that you've ever been jealous of and why, and you look at, you know, what are the common themes here? What am I jealous of? I just haven't really been jealous of too many people since college started. And the instances that I have been like, again, not very insidious. It's like you explicitly have something I want, or you like have someone I want, or some bullshit like that. I had to look back for like true envy of other people for, you know, someone I thought was prettier than me, more talented than me, all of, you know how it goes, you've been jealous before. I had to go back into like middle school and high school, but like middle school, bro, fucked up time, universally fucked up time for the self-esteem of any young woman. I don't think that anybody escapes unscathed from middle school jealousy. So I dropped like first and last names of like girls I went to middle school with in this diary that I haven't thought about probably since I graduated 8th grade. That was really illuminating. I was like, wow, you do hold on to that. The body keeps the tweak. I said I was jealous of. I'm not gonna list these names out to you. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. As I got older, I had this one friend who I had like a bizarre fraught relationship with. I really admired her, but I was definitely kind of jealous of the things that I admired in her as well. We were both musicians. I was jealous of people that the girl I was in love with in high school liked instead of me. But you know, it was again not a very deep, rotting jealousy within me. I was just like, damn, what if you liked me instead? I was jealous of girls in my choir who I thought were like more talented than me. I had like a weird renaissance of insecurity and of self-consciousness when I joined this like advanced women's choir in high school, where we were supposed to be pretty and talented. And honestly, it was not like a horrendously competitive environment, but anything where like you are prided on being pretty and talented is like you're gonna set up some comparisons of who is prettier and more talented. I do remember certain people where I like, there was something in them that I looked to, maybe for inspiration, maybe out of envy. Reaction to the times, but I was jealous of how close my neighbors were to each other. I never really felt like I was all that connected to this group of people that I was really immersed in. And I was jealous of a lot of the freshmen who went to the university near where I was living, because I was a community college student. I ended up not having a conventional community college experience at all because I lived right next to the university and because I lived in this like basically student housing. So I by all means had the university experience for those first 2 years of community college, but going into it, I had no idea that was gonna happen. And so I do remember feeling this acute envy of people who had grown up and knowing that they were gonna go to college, and here they were, and they were having their, like, you know, crazy dorm parties and the crazy dorm situationships, and I was hearing all of this crazy bullshit. And I was just like, damn, like I felt like an imposter walking around that campus. This was a short-lived envy, again, because in those next couple months I started going to a lot of parties and, you know, met a lot of people and basically had all the dorm parties and situationships and fucking nightmares that everybody else had, but I had an apartment. But I do remember that jealousy distinctly, and I think it manifested as loneliness. I'm not putting that, but I was jealous. I said, in a lot of instances, when I'm jealous of other musicians or other artists or other people who are putting their work out in the world, I think it propels me forwards. I think that I've been really, really good at seeing the things that I want to embody in other people and learning how to be or embody them instead of wishing that I was them. You know, there's no artist that I wish that I sounded like or had the specific talents of. I want to be the best version of myself and the artist that I am. There wouldn't be anything compelling about my music if it was somebody else's. Even if that person was a better singer, a better producer, whatever than I am. You can do that. You can adopt those features that you admire so much in other people. I said being jealous of pretty people was a less productive thing. It only abated when I started thinking I was pretty. It's kind of unstable ground to have self-confidence on, and I do worry about that a little bit. I'm not really jealous of other people who are attractive because I think I'm attractive. What happens when I don't look like this? That's something that I do worry about, but it's not my problem right now. I like how I look and I don't want to worry about it anymore. And then being jealous of other people who, you know, someone that I want to be with is seeing, I think is pretty normal. I'm gonna cut myself some slack for that one. But regardless, the jealousy map was interesting. I think it put me in like a weird headspace. It reminded me of things that I was really mad about that I hadn't thought about for a while. And if you remember the first week of the Artist Way, you remember that I gave up tweaking for Lent. And then on the 40th night of no tweaking, it was Easter, and I was kept up all night, tossing and turning and fighting people in my head to the point of tears, real tears in my eyes, in this very bed, literally for 7 hours, feverishly. And I think that my body wanted to tweak. Like, I think that I repressed something within myself and it couldn't take it anymore. Like, I had to freak out. In the future, I will not be entirely repressing the urge to tweak. Oh, hey. Oh my god, did you get cut?
Yes, bro.
Oh my god, fantastic. Sorry for the interruption. My roommate came home, she got cut. She's a server, so she was ecstatic, and I was ecstatic for her. Anyway, so the jealousy map served some sort of purpose. It basically just reminded me that I'm jealous and upset about certain things. Good to know that I'm still upset. And then we moved to the archaeology unit, and I completed these prompts. If you've done the Artist Way before, you know that you respond to them as quickly as possible and in as uninhibited of a manner as you can. So here's what I wrote. As a kid, I missed the chance to have a sibling or feel like I had a companion to weather the world and my parents with. As a kid, I lacked stability, a grounded sense of self, something to look outwards to for reliable safety and comfort. As a kid, I could have used someone to redirect me towards becoming more empathetic and altruistic, who actually was empathetic and altruistic themselves. As a kid, I dreamed of being a writer, a musician, ambitious, heading many projects, organizing. I specifically had like the dream of organizing a nonprofit, fucking sociology major from birth, recognized for my talents and contributions. I wanted clout as a child. I wanted clout more than I want it now. I'm talking about, you know, how I've recovered the fact that I want to be successful, but my success doesn't necessarily look to me like the level of clout that I wanted as a child. As a kid, I wanted, I said lots of friends. I honestly did have a lot of friends as a kid, but that felt like an accomplishment. And even now, I think when I think of like what am I the most proud of in my life beyond my creative accomplishments, it's my friendships and how deep they go. I think my younger self would love to hear that. In my house, we never had, this is like, we're just getting to like the sad ass part of the video. Guys, it's not that deep, guys, it's okay. In my house, we never had constant stability, attention, and understanding for one another. As a kid, I needed more patience, grace, and understanding. I am sorry that I will never again spend hours in the backyard of the little green house with the white tea roses, smacking a volleyball against the garage wall and writing songs and stories in my head. For years, I have missed and wondered about living in Little Tokyo, downtown LA as a kid, and how that shaped me into who I am today. I beat myself up for the loss of my friendships, especially with girls when I was young, because of my own arrogance or self-interest. I'm thinking of a very specific portion of my childhood. It was like a year of being an asshole, but I still regret it greatly. And I regret, as I got older too, just some of the ways that my friendships deteriorated just because I wasn't really attentive enough to them. I went the other way very hard after realizing that that was happening, and was able to build like very, very beautiful reciprocal relationships, especially with women. And so I do think, I think that's evolved nicely. One thing I like about my town, the impressive walkability of the area I'm in and how pretty the streets are. I think I have nice eyes, social skills, and taste in music. Writing my morning pages has shown me I can say what's bothering me in a really plain and simple way, thus rendering it less painful for the rest of the day. That is really truly the biggest benefit I found to the morning pages. Whatever immediately comes into my brain and makes me anxious first thing in the morning, I just don't need to worry about at the same level because I've gotten it on paper, it's done, it's out. I would suggest that people do the morning pages even if they don't want to do any other part of the artist way. And I think that once this specific program is done, I will probably still be using them from time to time. I am taking a greater interest in filling my days with activities. Studio, class, studying, coffee shops, thrifting, yoga, Eastfield time, parties, wine bar, live music, farmer's market, backyard, roof, room time, tea shop, festivals, dinners, and dinner parties, bus, club, another club, another club. I believe I'm getting better at singing, recording vocals, following through with my ideas. I am not biting my nails so that I can get them done soon. I am not holding on to resentment, except for that for the other night. Not checking social media all day, and not staying inside all day. My artist has started to pay attention to how my music style, aesthetic, etc. both naturally align with the cultural moment in music right now and defy it, making it stand out. I had the thought a while ago with some of the artists that I feel like there's a lot of women producers coming out in general, which, you know, I would like for my music to not be classified as women producer music, but I do take a lot of pride in being a female producer. And a lot of pop music with really weird experimental production. I think that in general, people are really, really, really craving authenticity right now. I've never known how to be anything other than authentic in my music, even when it makes it a little bit messier or rougher around the edges. I am perfectionistic in the editing process, but not in the creation process. I think I have an authentic voice, but then I do a lot with it that goes further than just singing and writing, which is, I think, what is expected of me a lot of the times. This literally happened. This happened to me. Listen up. This happened to me. I was at this show I was at my friend's show, and this is like an underwhelming ass story. This guy came up to me, shook my hand. He was like a friend of a friend, and I was talking to those people about, like, the people I was talking to them about the album that I was about to put out. He's like, oh, what kind of music do you make? I was like, oh, you know, it's like electronic, there's like some rock and some pop elements in it. He was like, really? Because I thought that you were a singer with a guitar, because, you know, you fit the archetype. It's like, you look me in my eyes right now, you just met me 1 second ago. He got my ass. If you're a woman and you make music, you have to be Phoebe Bridgers, or you have to have massive fucking tits, and if you have both, then you might get a semblance of recognition. I like Phoebe Bridgers. I think that the music that is gaining recognition right now is music that is similar to mine, or has a similar ethos behind, like, why the people making it are making it. My self-care is living fully, spontaneously, and openly without resistance. I feel more open, blunt, honest, and I have a stronger belief in myself and my art. Possibly my creativity is culminating in a project that will be successful. Some of the tasks this week, it was just exploring your interests for the most part, I think, in an effort to connect with yourself greater. I said that my 5 favorite movies are Spirited Away, Heathers, The Virgin Suicides, Party Girl, and End of Evangelion. Anybody who's ever met me ever has heard a lot about Evangelion. Thank you for bearing with me, guys. It was like write down some of your favorite research topics. I fucking love California geography. I love going on Wikipedia and clicking on an unincorporated community. I love a good census designated location. I like the culture tab. You know, I like topography. I like to go on a map and zoom into like the middle of goddamn nowhere and find like a town on, you know, the top of a mountain. There's this town called Pozo that I really want to go to. That's like an hour out of San Luis Obispo. Pozo Tavern or like saloon or whatever has had some crazy musical guests, and I think it's defunct now. But like I wanna know like why the fuck Kendrick Lamar was in the Pozo Saloon in like 2012. Like what's going on over there? I like weird sea creatures. I like music production. I like, that's it. I got 3 interests. And then I made like a giant list of everything that I've spent money on in the last 3 weeks, which was actually related to week 6, and it's just an activity I forgot to do. And boy, was it illuminating. The main takeaway was that I spend a lot of money on food that is mid as hell. I wrote down my food spending of the month, and then I wrote down my food that was mid spending of the month, and it was not a good ratio, you guys. And I have one life to live, and I don't want to keep eating food that sucks ass and then spending my money on it.
What we got here? A scene in the words. No, literally. Look at this long ass pipe.
Yeah, it was an interesting week. There was much to think about. I didn't come to a lot of grand revelations, but I thought about it. The jealousy map and some of the childhood stuff, it's interesting to have floating around my head as I'm looking at the way that the creative side of me interacts with the rest of the world. Some of the ways I was examining my own perfectionism were really interesting and helpful, I think. I'm realizing that my biggest task now is to not let my perfectionism overwhelm me to the point where I start stunting myself again creatively. I need to be grounded enough in like what I'm creating, especially with this album, that I won't get sucked into my own perfectionism last minute and delay it 100 times and get, you know, completely dissatisfied with the product the second that it's out, which always happens. I always hate listening to my music once it's actually out in the world, and like I was having a grand old time making it. I'm really gonna have to challenge the part of me that wants to be very perfectionistic with all of this. I anticipate it will be difficult. I mean, I overcame the first tier of perfectionism that I had to deal with, you know, when I wouldn't finish any music ever in high school. And I moved past that, and I've been able to create more freely, so I'm like moving up a tier. Now I'm at the level of like, be satisfied with what you're making. Or at least satisfied enough that I don't sabotage myself in the process. Because I know that being a little dissatisfied with your work is the mark of an artist, and you know, you wouldn't be creating if you could say exactly what you wanted to say upon first try, upon first creation. So I'll cut myself some slack for that too, for being a little bit dissatisfied all the time. And next week is strength, so I'm looking forward to being strong as fuck. And she's probably gonna send us to the oil rig. And it sounds like my roommates are having fun in the other room, so I'm gonna wrap this video up because I have FOMO.